Okay guys, today we're going to be doing a video on this little pistol right here. This is the Walther P22. So I've had this gun over 10 years. This was actually the second pistol that I ever bought. And my particular one right here is it's got this nice little gray frame, and it's been a really fun gun. I don't know how many rounds I've put through it, but it's been a bunch. And it recently has a new slide on it. So I'm going to roll in some pictures right here of what happened to the old slide. So the original slide, I believe, was cast zinc. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what it was. And this new slide is aluminum. So obviously from the pictures you can see that it developed a crack and then just broke all the way in half. It actually, while I was shooting the gun, all of a sudden the end of the slide was missing. So Walther was awesome about it. Like I said, this is a pretty old gun, but I got in contact with their customer support. They sent me a return authorization. I shipped it off, and they had my new slide in the mail, I believe the day it arrived, or if not the next day, and they sent it back. I think I got it in 2 days. So their customer service was awesome. They sent the new slide. It had new sights obviously mounted on it. And another reason I was happy to get that slide is the safety switch on these pistols. I don't ever use it just because I think it's unnecessary on a double action, single action. I get why they do it, because these are, you know, meant to be something that you teach kids with, or new shooters or whatever. But I'd actually loaned this gun out to a friend to take a concealed carry course, and I actually took my concealed carry course with this same gun. And in those courses at the time anyway, every time you're shooting, they're telling you safety on, safety off, safety on, safety off. Well, if you use this safety a bunch, it gets fairly loose, and it was so loose that sometimes it would just, under recoil, it would fall down and put itself on. So the new one is tight. I don't ever plan to use it, so I like the fact that I got a new one. The gun ships with 2 magazines, and I actually bought a third one here last year, but it shipped with these 2 right here. One has this little bump for your finger, and then it has a flush fit one. And then I bought this newer one. You can see it's got some texture there because it's the newer style, but the new ones fit the old guns just fine. I have to imagine mine was one of the first editions of this gun. But it's you can see it's made to look like they're newer polymer pistols, but it's smaller. You know, it's quite small in your hand. It also came with, my particular model came with this longer barrel that you can swap out, and then it comes with this little piece that you mount to make the gun look complete with the longer barrel. It also came with multiple different front sights that you can swap out. You just use a little tool and you pop them out of the bottom, and then you can slip them back in. So that's nice. You can adjust your sight height, and then the rear sight is adjustable for windage with this little flathead screw. So I think that's also nice. You can adjust your sights, and it's a really accurate little gun, so you can get your point of aim just perfect. It also came with 2 options for a little palm swell, so that was nice. One thing I'll note that I did here is, in addition to the thumb safety, right here in the frame there's a little safety that you can, there's a little tool that came with the gun where you can lock the trigger out completely. I guess if you're worried about the possibility of you know, kids or something getting their hands on the gun, you can lock that trigger out from moving altogether. I actually took mine out. I had my gun apart because I had a hammer spring break, and you can go on Walther's website and you can buy replacement hammer springs, but it does require disassembling the lower pretty much completely to get that hammer spring changed out. So while I had it apart, I went ahead and took that little piece out because I don't have any use for it, and I don't want it to get accidentally rotated into place and then me not have the tool or at the time or something like that. So I just took it out. I don't need it, but it does come that way. To take it down, this little lever here pulls straight down, and then you just retract the slide, lift it up in the back, and it slides off the barrel. So that is the slide. The recoil spring is not captured, but it's a wound coil spring, and this is the guide rod. And then right here, this is a little nut that captures the collar over the barrel. So it comes with a little wrench to take this nut off if you want to replace the barrel with this longer version. If you want to run a silencer, there's also adapters for this little nut that give you 1/2 by 28 threads. I've actually got one of those coming, but not in addition to Walther makes one, and then there's other companies making aftermarket ones. But it's pretty simple. You just replace this little nut with one that gives you threads beyond that. So that's pretty nice if you want to run a silencer. You can tell mine is pretty dirty, but I'm not sure if you can tell from here, but the hammer spring is wound around right here, and that's what I had break. So I put a lot of rounds through it. I'm not surprised. It's a really cheap part. It just takes a little bit of experimentation to get in there and get it out and put a new one in. But I bought 2 at the time just in case it happens again. This I'd say one of the only problems I've had is this little screw right here. Has a tendency to back out. I put a bunch of Loctite on there and tightened it down after I got tired of tightening it down every time I took it apart, but since I've Loctited it, it hasn't came out again, so that's a pretty easy fix. One thing about putting the gun back together with the recoil spring that's not captured, it's kind of a pain. They send, along with the gun, they send you this little polymer piece. So basically, in order to aid putting it back together, you stick this in the end of the spring there, and then you use that to guide the recoil, the guide rod back into the slide as you put it back together. Let's see if I can try to do this on camera, but you just use that little piece to guide the guide rod back into the frame, and then you pull it to the rear, set it back down on the rails, and send it forward and just push that little takedown lever back up. In addition to the other safeties the gun has, it will not fire without a magazine, so that hammer won't drop until you've got a magazine in the gun. It is double action, single action. The double action pull is pretty heavy, kind of stiff, like you might imagine. There is on this gun, there's a little, almost like a half cock position. So I don't know why you'd carry this gun, but if I were to carry it, I wouldn't use the safety. I would put it in double action and put it on that little half cock. That'd keep your hammer from, if it dropped or something, hitting that firing pin. but the double action pull is pretty stiff. It's a nice single action trigger pull, but the double action isn't great. But anyway, that's a look at the gun up close. We're going to go out and do a little bit of shooting with it. It's like I said, very accurate. It runs well. It runs a lot of different ammunition. I know a lot. I won't say a lot, but I read some stories online of people having ammo sensitivity problems with P22s. That hasn't been my experience with mine. Mine runs pretty much anything I put in it. Even the Winchester stuff that I mentioned in my TSG 22 video that I had problems with. This one runs Winchester and anything else just fine. So anyway, we'll go out on the range and shoot it a little bit and let you take a look at it. Okay guys, out on the range with the Walther P22. It's a little bit dirty as you saw in the close-up video, so if it fails to lock back or doesn't feed or something like that, I'm not going to be too hard on it. It's probably just dirty. One thing about shooting this gun is this is one of the only non-Glocks that I actually shoot. So the grip angle is a little different, so I find myself having to modify my grip to be able to shoot it well. But anyway, we'll shoot around a little bit and have a little fun with it. Okay guys, that's it for the shooting portion with the Walther P22. You can see we had a couple failures. Like I said, the gun's dirty. I'm not going to blame that on the gun. We're also shooting this Winchester stuff that I don't have very good luck with in other guns. It runs better in this one than it does in everything else. So there again, the fact that it runs it at all, I'm happy with. So anyway guys, thanks for watching.